Hey, today on the show we're going to be talking about a bunch of cool stuff. We're going to be reviewing Blade Runner 2049. We're going to be giving you our favorite picks from Netflix. We're also going to be playing Doesn't Matter, and we're going to be doing all of this with my co-host for this week, Quinn Winchell. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. And Ben, thank you for having me back.
Awesome. Glad to have you back. This is the Big Ben Show. We didn't say it at the top of the show, but it is. It's the Big Ben movie show. I'm Big Ben. Quinn's my co-host for this week. We're going to go ahead and get things started right now with headlines. Here we go. Number one, Fast and Furious. This was so the last Fast and Furious movie. I don't know. Did you see it?
No.
Okay, I did see it. It was crazy nonsense, which is what those movies are, and they're kind of fun for that. But here's the thing: in the last one, Vin Diesel and The Rock had a beef, and everybody heard about it afterwards. And The Rock was calling him a little bitch, and Vin Diesel was saying some mean stuff too, but like in his like weird little family, not being family. And that was all he was saying. And then he sang some karaoke. Really happened. Look it up. Vin Diesel sings a lot of stuff online. Anyway, so The Rock and Jason Statham, based on the last Fast and Furious movie, are getting a spin-off because everybody saw The Rock and Jason Statham in a movie, and it was everything we'd ever wanted. So
was it really everything?
It really was. It was awesome. No, there's a whole prison fight scene where they basically have superpowers, but not really. And they just like destroy a whole prison and like wreck through walls and stuff. Even though you're like, wait, do they have superpowers? No, they don't. But The Rock just knocked through a wall with his fist. Yeah, no, it happens. Move. Just don't worry about it. The Rock was it's a piece of concrete. Yeah, no, he plows right through that crap. He's The Rock. Don't worry about it.
It's going to happen in Jumanji too, I'm sure. So it's definitely in his contract.
Yeah. So here's the cool thing though. Jason Statham and The Rock were supposed to be in The One years ago with Jet Li. It ended up being Jet Li and Jason Statham, but it was supposed to be The Rock and Jason Statham. So we were almost got it there, but now that we've gotten it, the public has gotten it. They like the taste. They want some more. So there's going to be a whole Rock Jason Statham movie. But this has made Tyrese from the Fast and Furious movies mad because Fast and Furious 9, there's 9 of these things, is now being pushed back.
Folks, it just keeps going.
There's 9 of them.
There's no stopping in sight.
9! Fast, they drive cars quickly. That's it.
At some point, we have to assume that they will be doing this in space.
Yeah.
Because what was the last one? There was a sub?
There was a submarine. Submarine in Antarctica.
Was there a tank of some kind? Or
no, that was another one. There's been tanks. Oh, yeah.
Okay, there's been
tanks, of course. The best one was when they stole a vault with a car. Okay. And then they drove the car and had the vault attached on like a hitch. And then the vault is just like spinning all over the road, knocking stuff. It was actually really fun.
I just remember the last one. They were on top of a gas line tanker.
Okay.
And it goes off a cliff, and Paul Walker, I think, barely. I'm like, I'm done. I'm okay. Yeah. I think that's okay.
And then they catch him. They drive by and do one of these and reach their hand out and just luckily grabbed him right as they needed. Yeah, no, not too much, not too little, just perfect. And then Vin Diesel drove out of a building, like a 50-story building. He's like 200 stories up. He drives out of one building into another building.
I did look at that.
That was amazing.
And
totally real.
Most of my knowledge of these films are from CinemaSins. And nice shout out to CinemaSins. Yeah. Love you guys. But I remember seeing that ridiculous, between the two skyrise towers, the car.
Yeah.
Weren't they supposed to, wasn't that integral to the plot? Like they
needed
that car.
They absolutely needed the car. It was a very valuable car that they needed to catch the bad guys for some reason. And he chooses to just drive it right out the window.
That's what you call a MacGuffin, folks.
Yeah, totally worked. So anyway, so Tyrese is now mad because The Rock is getting his own movie. And so some people are saying that it might be because of the spinoff. It might just be because The Rock's a busy dude.
I say, does Tyrese have any reason to be mad about this?
No.
Does Tyrese have the level of star power that The Rock does? Then
Tyrese is like the 8th most popular person in those movies. And there's like 9 people in those movies. So
I remember when he was in the second one, because I did see the first 2.
Okay.
I did see the first 2 and part of Tokyo Drift. I'm like, this guy's the weakest.
Tokyo Drift I actually kind of liked.
But Tyrese was
They went Karate Kid with it. It was fun.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. That's true. But Tyrese was kind of the weakest part of that second one. So I don't see where he has the credibility to complain. But then again, I'm not in Hollywood. So I don't know.
He doesn't. It's depending on who you ask, he is either the worst or the best part of the movies. Those who think he is the best part, it's because he is the worst. So they're like, no, all of his lines are so stupid. He's the best part of the movie. So it's in my mind though, those movies started getting really good and interesting when they abandoned all semblance of plot and we're just like,
it's action porn.
yeah. And then The Rock's just being The Rock, and he just runs around rock bottoming people and rock bottom Jason Statham through a table.
There you go.
Using wrestling moves through a table on Jason Statham. It was amazing.
They're rock bottoming on plot lines. I
yes,
think,
that too.
So.
Moving along, Universal monster movie, The Dark Universe, the universe that they've been making. According to some people, is apparently 2 movies in. Apparently, Dracula Unborn was part of it.
I want to say that. Yes, there was a modest attempt at that. I want to say. But was I Frankenstein also part of? No, because that was not within that wheelhouse.
No, because Frankenstein is not going to be played by Aaron Eckhart. He's going to be somebody else. Frankenstein is going to be Javier Bardem.
Really?
Yes. So the next movie in the series was supposed to be Bride of Frankenstein. It was going to star Javier Bardem as Frankenstein's monster. Notice I got all you literary people out there. I said it right. And it was also going to star Angelina Jolie as the Bride of Frankenstein.
Horrible idea.
Horrible idea. These are 2 terrible people to pair together. But yeah, so they're not going to do that movie because The Mummy was crap and made no money.
So that means Johnny Depp is no longer going to be the Invisible Man. Russell Crowe is no longer going to be Jekyll and Hyde.
How are you going to take a guy as pretty as Johnny Depp and make him the Invisible Man? Come on. That's, you know who you make the Invisible Man? You make me the Invisible Man. You find somebody that you're just like, make that guy the Invisible Man.
It's kind of a Gore Verbinski move.
There you go. Yeah, just nonsense. No, these movies need to stop, and I'm glad that they are. Here's the idea, though. I like the idea of a Universal monster movie universe because they had it. They had it like in the 50s.
They did, but I like I like the originals, of course. But the new idea seems like, and I'm sure a lot of you are with me on this. Everybody is trying to copy Marvel.
Yeah.
The cinematic universes are what is hot right now, and it seems like DC's just getting into it, and I think DC has a little bit more darker and Zack Snyder tone to it, which I'm hoping they kind of get away from a little bit.
He's out. He's completely out. Yeah.
Okay. But that's the thing. It's these things like Sony and now Universal. They're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel to try and formulate these. And so I'm glad that the Mummy was kind of the final nail in the coffin on that because
did you see it?
I did not. I felt I did not need to see it.
It's bad. It's really, really bad. All right, now on to the movie review. We saw Blade Runner. We saw Blade Runner last night. Yep. Blade Runner 2049, to be specific, because Blade Runner is a movie from 1982. Interesting
great
note.
Movie from 1982.
Great movie from 1982. Interesting note. Blade Runner 1982 is when I was born. So for this movie having a 35-year gap, that's my gap. That's yeah. There you go. The gap was me. So this is now the sequel to the 1982 classic.
Mm-hmm.
If we're calling it that.
Thank you.
To some people, it absolutely is. To other people, it's just okay, and probably should have been a 30-minute TV show because there's not. Okay, we'll talk. Let's just talk about 2049.
Yeah.
2049. This movie last night, I really liked it. I thought it was really good. What about you?
I loved it. A couple things going in. First off, don't see it in 3D. It really does nothing for the picture. And it also diminishes Roger Deakins' work because Roger Deakins is amazing.
He's a cinematographer?
Cinematographer.
Okay.
He's done work for, essentially all of the Coen Brothers films, Sicario. So This guy is a master at what he does. And the 3D glasses just kind of, it takes everything down a stop. And I was constantly doing this to see, I was like, okay, what's the real lighting looking like? And it kind of ruined the experience for me a little bit, but overall, the film, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I will say this, though, the plot seemed very secondary to the images, and to the overall world and landscape.
Well, much the same way of something like the Mad Max movie from a year or two ago, where it was like, there's a plot, but more than anything, doesn't this all look cool? And isn't it fun how we're all driving around in these trucks? Mm-hmm. And by the way, here's a guy playing a guitar suspended from wires.
Yeah.
So it's that. Not as much as that movie, but yes, no, the plot definitely seemed. Here's the thing, though, it didn't need to be. That plot actually was fairly interesting.
It was.
I'll say this: it was far more interesting than the plot of the original movie.
I find the plot of the original a lot less convoluted. There were some certain points where, and Blade Runner's not a film that you can explain right off the bat. It's not. This is a world that's meant to be kind of analyzed on different levels. And I think this film does it too, but not to the extent that the first one does. But I don't think it's setting out to do that. I think...
I'm sorry, but you can explain. There's a guy catching robots. They're killer robots, and he falls in love with a robot.
It's a neo-noir. It also falls into the
That was
spectrum
the whole
of the
movie, though.
anti-hero. Yes. I mean, as the plot lines go, but even Rutger Hauer's scene.
Oh, Rutger Hauer's scenes are amazing.
Purpose,
Yeah. No.
Rutger Hauer's purpose in that is very much...
Rutger Hauer, by the way, has been cashing checks his entire life
on
based
that
on that movie.
Just that one monologue.
Because every other time I see him, so I'm like, oh, Rutger Hauer. And then I see it, I'm like, oh, why do we care about Rutger Hauer again? And then every now and then I'll go back and watch later, and I'm like, that's why.
Yep.
He did a thing once, and it was really good. And he's been just cashing in on it forever. It's like tears in the rain, forever. That's all he has to do, and then he just gets paid forever.
Time to die. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's really good. It was an amazing stuff. But this movie was far more complicated. I will say, the plot of this one, and I mean, it's visually, it's very clearly set in the same world.
Yeah.
It uses a lot of the same visual style. It uses a lot of the same color schemes.
But without being nostalgic, in a sense.
Yeah.
That's what I really appreciated.
It still felt new.
The film, yes. I think it's standalone. I can't say right now that I would consider this a classic. I think that denotes time and also a cult following, which I think this will break box office numbers, I'm sure. Well, it was 150, 180 million to make this, I want to say.
Really?
And I'm hoping they've recouped that, but depending on the length of it, and it's 2 hours and 40 minutes, that's a very limited amount of showtimes per day.
I didn't know that it was going to be that expensive. Knowing that it's that expensive, it's going to be rough to make all that money back.
I think
internationally will help, but
domestic-wise,
the original movie I don't think made a ton of money.
The original, you could say it bombed.
Yeah,
because I think it made maybe a little over 18 million. I want to say.
Yeah, that's a bomb.
I could be wrong on this,
now in '82 though, we should point out like sometime around there was when Ghostbusters came out, and that did barely over 100 million its first year and was the #1 comedy of the year. So yeah, the numbers game is very different from where we are now.
Yeah.
Where in 2015 there was 7 different movies that made over $1 billion.
True.
Well,
the year you were born, like '82, like you had E.T. That was the biggest office
movie
film
of the year.
But you also had like Poltergeist. That was a pretty big box office year for the '80s. I'd say '82 was one of those kind of magical time of years. But I also think it's now going in. I also think about the audience's expectations for different generations. Probably a lot of kids have not seen Blade Runner.
No.
So, and I was talking about this earlier with my girlfriend. And we were discussing, okay, there were no explosions in the first Blade Runner. There were there were some action sequences, but these were more intimate, people fighting, like one-on-one, this kind of a struggle within
close gunshots.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in this one, there are explosions, but, it's... The trailer kind of sets it up in a way where it feels like, okay, there's Blade Runner elements in this, but we also are putting some, to work with the pacing structure, we're putting some explosions in and a little bit more use of the flying cars because we want to see this. And, I'm fine with that in this film because it really structured it. I mean, there was a fine balance between all of this. It wasn't just schlock, and it wasn't just a philosophical debate on humanity.
That's what made it really, I thought, work, was that the first movie spends tons and tons of time really in kind of unspoken, like mutterings and rumorings on like, but what is humanity and does it really but they don't go at length and talk about this. It's more just hinted at, and then lots of quiet reflection as we look off into nothing and think about humanity. This movie skips a lot of that, and yet at the same, puts it kind of plainly out there that if the plot of this movie is true, humanity might not mean it puts it way out there more, not to spoil anything. It's a really good plot concept, and it's a really good mystery of a movie that I liked in this. And one of the better, to me, sequels always struggle for this. Why do we exist? Yeah. The second movie always struggles with, do we need a second movie? What happens that actually necessitates a second movie? If anything, I feel like the storyline in this second movie is a more powerful reason for a story than the first movie.
It's almost do we need to exist? If the first film is asking why,
Yeah.
the second one is facilitating that with an answer, do we need to? It's like, how far can the story go? But going back to what you were talking about, how the philosophical debates within the first film, that needed that. And I think that's a big part of...
And it's a sign of the times. I mean, in the 80s, when computers and stuff were just now becoming... I think the Macintosh premiered right around then, too. So it's... you're
Late
talking about...
70s into
I mean, you're talking about early eras of computers and concepts of what happens when the computers have brains and what happens when the computers can think. And so you deal with all of that, whereas in this movie, it takes it to the much further next step. Honestly, a next step that I don't feel like a lot of other movies have really gone to.
Yeah.
Which is surprising.
I think the fact that you're making... I mean, I think Ryan Gosling's very robotic in general, but in this, I think he really works because... I mean, but I think he's very self-aware on many levels of his own robotic nature. But in this film, it worked that the replicants are actually built into society. Yeah. And that they're functioning within that, and that there are, racial difficulties within these two groups. And those parts worked for me a lot. But it's I think this needed to depart. I mean, it still kept a lot of the philosophy of Blade Runner, but I think it was able to kind of plateau and become its own thing.
Absolutely.
So,
all right. So, out of 10, I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. I really liked it. It's solid. I would watch it again. It's not gonna go down as my favorite movie or anything, but it was a good mystery, good movie.
8.5. I'd say a good B, towing the line to a B plus. I'm just gonna give it that 8.5. Just a solid B.
Nice.
It's like I said, it's. I can't call it a masterpiece, but I can say I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I will go see it again.
Yeah.
So
that was really fun. So, all right. Next up, new segment that we're going to be calling Netflix and Chill. Every month, Netflix comes out with new stuff, and a buddy of mine told me the other day, he goes, I was watching Netflix the other day, and I don't even know all the stuff that's on there. So, we're going to help you out with that now. Every week, we're going to give you some picks on what you should be watching on Netflix. Either that's based on stuff that's about to come out or just came out, or some stuff that's been on Netflix forever that you might not know about. So, my pick for this week, in our first edition of Netflix and Chill, I'm going to recommend I Love You Man. This is a great movie. You might have even seen it when it first came out, but you might not have seen it in a while. And it's showing up on Netflix this week. Just started as of October 1st. It's available on Netflix. Very funny movie. Paul Rudd, Jason Segel, about grown men trying to find friends. I have found this struggle. It is real. And this is a very funny movie kind of exploring all of that. So that's my pick. You cheated and did 2 picks. So.
I did do 2 picks.
Yeah.
So if you want to do another pick.
No.
Okay.
I'm
sorry.
I only pulled pictures for the picks that we got.
I continually screw up your format.
That's okay.
So, I'll just say, I guess my 2 picks are kind of related in a sense. They have a couple different similarities, I'll say. They are both horror films in lieu of October. We Are Still Here. It's directed by Tom. I can never pronounce his name right. Golgaffer. I think I'm not even going to try to pronounce or guess where he's from. That's just. But it's a homage
one of these
to
creepy little children back here.
It's an homage to the supernatural films of the 1970s, where there's a haunted house, a family that's dealing with loss. Their son has passed away, and they're just trying to find some semblance of family in this environment, and all hell breaks loose. It's simple, right to the point, and it has a very creepy dynamic between the family and also the avenging spirits.
I can feel the creepy children behind me, and it's gross. They're gross. All right, what's the second pick?
And the next is Beyond the Gates. Now, this is a Jackson Stewart film, and once again, this is an homage to the 80s. It's about a possessed VCR board game, VHS board game. I kid you not, this is a film
VHS board games.
I can watch this over and over. It's so simple in its premise, once again, but there's this charm that it's blending nostalgia and just, you like the characters too, so it just makes it really fun to watch. Both of these films have 80s, I don't know if I'd call her a scream queen. I think she's better than that. Barbara Crampton. Barbara Crampton was also in Reanimator, 1985. So I think she's great in these films. I think she's executive produced Beyond the Gates. I'm not sure about We Are Still Here. But they're fantastic films for Halloween. So get some popcorn, turn off the lights, and get close to your sweetheart.
Okay. All right. We're now down to Doesn't Matter. We're going to go ahead and rush through these and get to the end here. First up, Gore Verbinski has stepped up to direct Gambit. He is now the third director that they have picked. The movie was supposed to be released now. It was supposed to come out right now, and now we have scrapped up Gore Verbinski. So here's the thing. Gore Verbinski has a crappy opinion now of like his work, but I looked at it.
I wonder why.
There's at least 4 movies on there that I actually have like thoroughly enjoyed.
Are 3 of them Pirates of the Caribbean?
The 3 of them are Pirates of the Caribbean. And the other one I think is his first movie, whatever he did before Mouse Hunt. But Mouse Hunt, I remember,
God,
was
Mouse Hunt. Yes. Okay. Gore Verbinski. I'm sorry. I did like Mouse Hunt a lot.
There you go. So does it matter that he's now been hired to direct Gambit?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. I don't. Here's the thing: 3 directors in, you were supposed to get released today, and now you're starting from scratch. I don't even think we're ever going to see your movie. Yeah. Sorry, Channing Tatum. He doesn't want to see you as Gambit.
No, I don't.
I'd be down. I am of the belief that Channing can do anything.
Not to say I've come to respect Channing Tatum more because he has proven himself. Hail Caesar! He's proven himself to be a virtuoso of talents.
Magic Mike.
I have not seen Magic Mike.
I muscled through it, and it's
no pun intended.
No, yeah. Here's the other thing, because also has Matthew McConaughey and my favorite Super Shredder from Ninja Turtles 2, Kevin Nash.
Really?
Yeah. He's one of the male strippers in it. So yeah, he's been in a bunch of other things. He was the
Bringing
Russian in the Punisher.
Stars out for this one.
Big sexy, Big Daddy Cool, Kevin Nash, Big Daddy Diesel. Anyway, number 2, Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy, and also from Blade Runner 2049, Dave Bautista. He's getting his own movie. So they've now decided to make him a star. There's a company out there called STX, and they are going to create an entire movie around him. It's going to be an action comedy like Guardians. Do you think it matters? Is this going to make him a star finally?
I don't really know. That's kind of a hard, because we were talking about this.
Yeah.
We never really get to see him at his full potential.
No.
Blade Runner was the first, I think, that I've seen him in a non-comedic, right on the nose. Yes.
Yes.
And it was good. I really wanted to see more of him in the film. But
he was really, to the point that they actually flashed back to one of his lines earlier.
Yes.
And it was delivered very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'd say I'll go with it matters, because I would like to see him act.
Yeah.
But if they put him in just a comedic role, like consistently, I'm hoping he can break typecasting at this point.
Yeah. My one worry is that a lot of the time when they make a comedy about one person specifically, that person ends up being the straight man and everybody else gets to be wacky. Mm-hmm. Don't give him too much of that. Let him be wacky. Let him, the reason that he works as Drax is that he gets to be wacky. Mm-hmm. And he gets to actually act in the second one. The first one, I think they wrote his lines because they thought he couldn't act. And he probably couldn't. But, I mean, The Rock is a rare breed of professional wrestler that actually can act.
Yeah.
But now we're seeing John Cena's coming up, and yeah, I don't know. I'm hopeful. All right, next up, Aaron Sorkin, his directing debut, Molly's Game, was supposed to come out here next month. It's actually now being pushed back to a December Christmas Day opening. Christmas Day, limited release. This is the realm of Oscar movies.
Sorkin, you're going to get slaughtered by Star Wars.
Which comes out like a week in advance, a week before that. Yeah, I don't think he's trying to make money. I think this is an Oscar move. I think
if it's Jessica Chastain,
yep,
he's going for Oscar.
Yep.
Because also Jessica Chastain is not really an box office draw.
No. Plus Christmas Day, unless I can tell right away that it's a cheesy movie. Also limited release Christmas Day.
Ooh,
limited release Christmas Day, meaning just L.A. and New York, maybe Chicago, means that not a lot of people are going to see it. And you're getting it in under the wire so that you qualify for the Oscars.
Did Sorkin also write this?
Yes.
Okay, so we might see some Oscar contenders there.
Yeah.
I mean, Sorkin is...
Like his last 2 or 3 things that he's written have all been up for Oscars.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Big Short, Network.
The Social
Network,
yeah.
and then the Steve Jobs movie. So, yeah.
That one got...
The Michael Fassbender one.
No, not the Kutcher one.
No.
But the Fassbender one.
Fassbender one got nominated. Well, Fassbender got nominated, and Kate Winslet also got nominated.
Yeah, I do remember that. I remember the script. Okay.
All right, last one up. It was it was a really challenging script. He put himself down at the bottom of a hill to start with.
Okay.
Of like, I want to do this and then try to make it interesting. And he pulled it off, but it to me it ruined it because you skipped all the cool parts of his life by only focusing on product releases.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So anyway, last one up, and this is amazing. Rush Hour 4. It's happening. Jackie Chan has confirmed while doing press for The Foreigner, which comes out next week, that Rush Hour 4 will happen. Him and Chris Tucker back again, saying ridiculous things at really high-pitched voices, and then in voices that are hard to understand, and then back and forth between the two. And yeah.
It's the laziest entry into the Lethal Weapon franchise.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. I got to say, though, every time I go see these, I do walk away with a smile. I don't ever walk away and think to myself, God, why did I watch? No, they're stupid. They're fun.
It's good to see Chris Tucker work because, I mean,
Serious.
We grew up with him in Friday.
He needs more stuff.
Money Talks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
Def Jam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I just saw him. He just did Def Jam's 25th anniversary.
How was that?
It's on Netflix. It's good.
Okay.
And he's barely in it, but overall, the best part was when they start getting blue with Steve Harvey on stage, and he's like, "Don't mess with my money now." It's because he like Steve Harvey hosts all these kid shows and game shows, and he's like, "Don't get dark around me." No. They were like, and mainstream media, and he goes, "Whoa, mainstream media is okay. NBC, how you doing?"
I got enough buttons on my jacket.
It's like, is it a bright enough color of blue? Can everybody see it? Everybody in space, can you see my jacket? So, all right. Well, that is the show for this week. Thank you so much for watching. This was the best show we ever did, and it's because we had Quinn Winchell.
This is the best show that I've ever been on, and it's because of Ben. Please watch the show. Tell your friends.
Tell everybody.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
All of it.
You name it, use all of it. And also, on one final note, and we didn't mention this in the film, but I feel like I have to say it, I really don't like Sony. As soon as I saw the Sony logo, I'm just like, oh God, horish product placement. And they did not disappoint, because every piece of old technology that Ryan Gosling uses has a Sony marker.
Has a Sony label, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Stay classy, Sony.
Betamax. All right. So, join us next week when we're going to be talking about Marshall. We were going to talk about Foreigner, and then somebody else said they didn't want to do it. So, we're going to be talking about Marshall with Joshua Furtado. I thought that was... I asked somebody who's technically could be called a foreigner to come and talk about the movie Foreigner.
That's never a good way to start.
And she said no. So... yeah, I thought I led with "Don't take this the wrong way." So, yeah. Anyway, it's Josh Furtado. He is, according to YouTube, our most popular co-host we've ever had. So, come back and check him out next week. It is Marshall with Josh Furtado. Thanks so much for watching. Good night, everybody.
Good night.